Where does Texas house men with such severe mental health issues that they cannot be kept in general population? That would be the Wayne Scott Unit. One of the most mentally ill men being housed here is Andre Thomas. Thomas was convicted and sentenced to death for the 2004 killing of his wife, son, and infant stepdaughter. Local news reports indicated that Thomas had ripped the hearts out of his victims. He then attempted to take his own life, but would fail. While housed in the county jail, he would remove one of his eyes with his finger. After making his way to death row at the Pulaski Unit in Livingston, Texas, he would remove the other eye and eat it. This would now leave Thomas blind in both eyes. Thomas is not your average inmate and has mental health needs that are probably among the highest in the system. He was moved to the Wayne Scott Unit following the removal of his second eye, which has been his residence for the past 15 years. Thomas is a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. In March 2023, a court in Texas withdrew his scheduled execution date in April and will be reviewing if he qualifies to receive the death penalty. Make sure you stick around to the end, and we'll take a look at another murderer being housed at the facility. In April 2023, 7 officers were fired at this prison for failing to do their job. A 16-year-old would take his own life at the Wayne Scott Unit. On March 24, 2023, Joshua Beasley Jr. was transferred to adult prison after assaulting a staff member while incarcerated with the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. He had a history of self-harm behaviors while in their care. Due to the mental health issues of the inmates here, they require more constant supervision. Staff must do 15-minute checks to ensure their safety. Unfortunately, the staff wasn't doing their job. According to a spokesperson for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, during our investigation, it was determined that there was an unacceptable level of complacency and those checks weren't happening as they should. The firings went up the chain of command. 1 sergeant and 1 lieutenant were included in the terminations. On this episode of Chasing Crime, we'll be taking a look at the Wayne Scott Unit of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Let's get into it. The name Wayne Scott Unit was used in another prison in Texas before the current facility. In 2020, Texas closed the Wayne Scott Unit, formerly known as the Retrieve Unit. In 2021, Texas then chose to rename another facility, the Buford H. Jester 4 Unit, to Wayne Scott Unit. The Retrieve Unit may be a prison to profile in a later video. We'll be focusing on the current Wayne Scott Unit, which is in Richmond, Texas, on the outskirts of the largest city in Texas, Houston. Richmond has a population of 11,627 and is the seat of Fort Bend County. The state of Texas has owned the property where the prison sits since the late 1800s. The facility opened in November 1993 as the Beaufort H. Jester 4 Unit. Jester was the 36th governor of Texas and is the only Texas governor to have died in office. He only served 2 years of his term before his passing. The facility is located on 933 acres, with suburbia knocking on its front door. Another facility, Carroll Vance Unit, is located directly next to the Scott Unit and is considered to be on the same property. The prison houses 550 men, all of whom are considered mental health and do not have an assigned security level. Many inmates come to the prison for stabilization and then return to the general population following their treatment. Others, such as Thomas, have remained here for an extended amount of time. In March 2013, 8 death row inmates were being housed here due to their mental health concerns instead of at the Pulaski Unit. The prison employs 433 staff, with 296 of those considered security positions. The current warden of the facility is Amber Ochoa. If you enjoy my content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts on this Texas prison. While some staff don't make good decisions, as noted earlier, 2 others made a huge find of potential contraband, but it isn't what you think. Staff at Wayne Scott Unit received a call from the Ports America in Freeport, Texas, that a shipment of bananas came into the port and went unclaimed. The staff at the port didn't want to have to throw away the product and donate it to the prison. 2 sergeants would make the trip 50 miles away to retrieve the fruit. But it wouldn't be that easy. Once there, they noticed that one box weighed differently than the others. When they opened it, to their surprise, it was a white powdery substance, cocaine. It would later be determined that the street value was a whopping $17.8 million. If this had made it into the prison, it could have been the largest amount of drugs to have ever been brought inside a prison. Another inmate at this prison that made headlines was Yu Masaki. Masaki's case is a perfect example of a crazy stalker taking it to the next level. With all the warning signs along the way, Masaki would make a move on a fellow gym-goer at Planet Fitness. Most people would move on with their lives after being rejected. Not Masaki. He would continue to obsess over the victim, even being banned from the gym due to his aggressive behavior. Masaki would not only shoot the female victim as she was leaving the gym, but also the male that was with her. The male would pass away, but the woman he was obsessed with would survive. Sadly, she was left paralyzed. When questioned by the police, he would say, "I hate her. She broke my heart." Even though he never had a romantic relationship with her, Masaki is serving a life sentence and is currently housed at the Wayne Scott unit, hopefully receiving his mental health treatment. This was a short profile of the Wayne Scott unit in Texas. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. As always, see you next time.